fans, it's time we face the tough truth about the Toronto Blue Jays. Look, we all know that our expectations for this offseason have been higher than ever before, especially when you're coming off of some pretty big offseasons in the past. This one feels like a big disappointment. But here's the tough reality, folks. I think that the Toronto Blue Jays roster, the way that it is right now, is exactly where it's supposed to be. Without dipping into some sort of fantasy land where the Blue Jays end up with Ohtani and Bellinger and Yamamoto and all these kind of big names, this is the exact roster that Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins have been preparing for the last few years, and there really is no more big improvements to be made. And the Blue Jays players themselves are starting to realize it's time to put up or shut up. Before we get into it more, guys, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Blue Jays Today. Ever since Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro took over this team, their goal was to bring the Blue Jays back into a contending window. And they did all the necessary steps to build their team to be competitive. First things first, they realized they had a surplus of infield prospects coming to the major leagues, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Cavan Biggio, and on the catching side of things, they had Danny Jansen, Alejandro Kirk, and at the time, Gabriel Moreno. So what did they do? First, they gave the young guys the ability to play every single day, and they've gone out and they've proven to be some pretty valuable big leaguers. And then the very next step is, well, we need to go get some outfielders. So they go sign George Springer, they add in Kevin Kiermaier, and they trade for Dalton Varsho. So they fill out the lineup and the outfield defense with some pretty solid players. And then on the pitching side of things, they realized they didn't have a lot of prospect depth there. So what do? They go out and they spend the necessary money to bring in big names like Kevin Gausman and Chris Bassett, make big trades like Jose Barrios and sign him for a long-term deal. And then in the bullpen, it's a collection of different guys from our minor league system, from trades, from free agency, to make a very good and competitive pitching staff. And the Blue Jays did it all within their budget. We often forget sometimes as fans that the Blue Jays are one of the top spenders in Major League Baseball. And then thinking about our fantasy land of bringing in Ohtani and Bellinger and all these other guys, that would have brought our budget way over our expectation. And now we're talking about New York Met level of spending last year. But the reality is, we gotta ground ourselves in our own expectations. The Blue Jays have never been a huge spending team in the history. This has been the most they've ever spent in their franchise history. And if you don't think they're going out and spending money this offseason, well, apparently Mark Shapiro said that they're looking to spend the exact same amount of money that they did in 2023. And if you look at what they've spent so far, well, they're only missing really one big kind of DH bat for $15 or $20 million to be spending around the same amount that they did in 2023. So yeah, they still have a very good budget to give to these players in this competitive window. And to be asking for a lot more is starting to dip into a bit of a fantasy realm that the Blue Jays will be one of the biggest spenders in baseball. And I know if you're an OG here and you've been watching a lot of our videos, we've been pushing the Blue Jays management to go out and make all these big splashes like Ohtani and Bellinger and all sorts of guys. But to be fair, I was dipping into the fantasy realm a little bit this offseason, and now I'm starting to ground myself back in reality and seeing the situation for what it is. Now the big topic of discussion I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying in the comments is, are the players that the Blue Jays have right now on the roster good enough to go on a deep playoff run or hell, even win a World Series? Well, like Bo Bichette said, that's up to the players to decide. Bo Bichette says, we've talked about how good we are. We've said things like that plenty of times from the team as a whole or as individuals separately. It's just time to put the work in and see what we're capable of. Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. For the most part, the strength of the Toronto Blue Jays for the last 4 years has been their offense, except for last year. And it just so happened that that was our biggest weakness, while our biggest strength was having one of the better pitching staffs in baseball. And just like players and just like teams, they fluctuate from year to year to year. So I think we've all been very fixated on this Blue Jays offense getting better, adding in the big bats. But like I said, where Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are coming from is, well, they already got the guys to go play ball. Now they need the guys to actually show up and do the job. I guess where I'm getting at here is, yeah, we didn't have the biggest offseason, but I think this is exactly where Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro wants the team to be. And if you disagree with that, that's totally your opinion. I mean, I certainly disagree in some regards of how they manage the team, but I can't blame them for actually putting together a complete ball team out there to compete every day. Now, is it good enough for them to go and win a World Series? That is, in the end of the day, up to the players to decide. I think we got to put all of our offseason expectations to the side, realize that these are the guys that we have to support as a fan base, and let's hope that they can go out, they can produce, they can win some big ball games, and they can bring the city of Toronto back to the postseason and hopefully get their first postseason win in about Oh God, 9 years? Oh God. Well, you guys let me know in the comments down below. Sound off about this offseason as a whole. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And are you gonna be here watching the boys in 2024? And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, guys, go Jays go.